So I've secretly been hospitalized 2 times this pregnancy.
And our twins will be here in 1 week.
Let's talk about it.
Hey y'all, welcome back to our channel. We're the Carnivore Couple. I'm Pat.
And I'm Caitlin, and if you didn't know, we are currently pregnant with twins. And
Really?
Yes, well I am. I'd be shocked if you were. In this video, we just wanted to give you an update on how the pregnancy has been going so far. I have actually been hospitalized 2 times this pregnancy, and our twins are coming next week.
Crazy. So we just wanted to give y'all an update. Be sure to stay tuned because at the end of the video, we're going to be revealing what we're having, whether it's 2 boys, 2 girls, or a boy and a girl. So put your guesses in the comments and we'll let you know. So before we get into you going to the hospital twice, how far along are you and how's it been going?
Okay, so currently I am 34 weeks along, and when this video comes out, I will be 35 weeks. And so far, this pregnancy has actually gone really well, a whole lot better than our first pregnancy with our son.
Yep.
With our first pregnancy, he was actually born at 31 weeks, weighing around 2 pounds, 14 ounces, because I had developed severe preeclampsia. So I am already 4 weeks more pregnant than I've ever been in my entire life, and not just with one baby,
With 2.
but with 2 babies. So I feel like
Yep.
that's amazing, but there are so many different complications that can come up with a twin pregnancy when you are growing 2 babies. There's like 3 people right here.
Yeah.
It's crazy, but it's been going really well overall. I'm just exhausted most of the time, and Patrick has been an absolute saint, just picking up the slack everywhere. I mean, when I first got pregnant, I was finally getting back into my carnivore ketovore journey. I was doing CrossFit. I was getting up into my intermediate level. I was able to walk, like 4 or 5 miles a day.
Yep.
And now I don't even want to go grocery shopping because I'm so exhausted. So it's going well and definitely better than my first pregnancy.
So this pregnancy has definitely been going better than the first one, but we've had some complications, some weird things going on. You've been in the hospital twice.
Yeah.
What happened?
The first, I guess, complication happened during my 24-week anatomy scan, and that's when they found out that one of our babies was potentially fetal growth restricted. So that's when your baby's weight and measurements are below the 10th percentile. This baby was measuring around the 3rd percentile. With a twin pregnancy, that can happen, but it can happen for 2 different reasons. It can happen because something's wrong with the placenta, something's wrong with the cord flow, like something pathologically is wrong, or it can just happen because your baby is just small.
Yeah.
So because one of our babies was diagnosed as fetal growth restricted at 24 weeks, we had to come in weekly, and we haven't stopped coming in weekly since then.
Yeah.
We had to come in weekly for ultrasounds where they would measure the cord flow, and all of those Doppler ultrasound cord flow studies have come back normal. And so it's just been determined that one of our babies is just small because they're small, which makes sense because how much were you when you were born?
I was like 6.5 pounds
Yeah.
or so.
And I was around 5 or 6 pounds when I was born. So we were both small babies too.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that, especially with 2 babies growing at the same time, that this baby is just growing a little bit smaller on the chart. So that was the first kind of scare. But then I did still wind up in the hospital.
So tell us about that.
I had to catch my breath, y'all.
Uptake.
These babies are like pushing up like so far, and it's hard to breathe. Okay.
Yeah.
The first time I was hospitalized, I was 28 weeks. So the night before, there was a big thunderstorm. And if you're a nurse, you're going to be like, oh, yeah. Something about, no, seriously, the nurses
Really?
talk about how when there's thunderstorms and stuff, that people are rushing into labor and delivery. Like something about the bariatric pressure changing can sometimes trigger labor.
That's crazy. I didn't know that. No.
Okay, so there's this huge thunderstorm, right? 28 weeks along. I wake up in the middle of the night to these like false labor contractions, and they were so painful I couldn't even talk to you.
Yeah.
I woke you up and I was trying to tell you what was going on, and I was just like dying.
I think you ended up like taking a bath.
Yeah,
to help
so
with the
I
pain,
barely
and you
made
called
it.
me. You're like, come. You're like, bring me some water. I'm
I
like,
need
what the heck?
you. I'm in
This is like
so
in the middle
much
of the night. I'm
pain.
like, what's going on?
And I was having these contractions that would happen for about 60 seconds to 2 minutes long, and then they would stop. So we go into labor and delivery, and the reason I had gone into labor and delivery was because I thought I had experienced like a brief moment of preterm labor, some false labor. They hooked me up to a machine to measure my contractions and everything. Nothing is happening. Everything is fine there. However, they did find that my blood pressures were spiking, which I felt was crazy because since I have a history of preeclampsia, I've been measuring my blood pressure every single day, and it had measured normal that morning. But my blood pressure there in the hospital was around 160 over 100, which is normal blood pressure is 120 over 80. And so that's when the nurse came and said, you are not going home today, and we're probably going to have to give steroid shots to develop your baby's lungs. Methomethazone, just in case they had to be born, they would have a better chance of survival in the NICU.
Just in case.
Yeah. Which was like a flashback.
Yeah.
Almost exactly what had happened with our first son.
Yep.
And I was just like, are you kidding me? This is happening again. They told me I wasn't leaving, so I had to stay overnight. Thankfully, after about 4 or 5 hours, I think it's when you finally got to the hospital, my blood pressures came down. You walked in the room and I was like, he's here. We're good.
Now, there's a good reason I wasn't there the whole time. I don't know if we should explain that, but.
Well, during this whole time, okay, so Patrick would have been at the hospital with me the whole time. However, he had recently been laid off from his job, and all of his job interviews were scheduled for this day.
Well, I had 2 that day, yeah.
Yeah, and he had to get back to them that day with a decision on an offer. So he couldn't be with me at the hospital at that time. There was just a lot going on that
That was a day. That was a busy day.
That was a busy day, y'all.
So that was the first time you were hospitalized, but what about the second time?
All right, so the second time I was hospitalized, I actually did come in for high blood pressure. Like I said, I had preeclampsia with my first, so I have been monitoring my blood pressure very carefully. And up until 32, 33 weeks, my blood pressure had been normal. But this particular morning, I measured my blood pressure in the morning, and it was around 150 over 94. So I waited a little bit. I took it again in 30 minutes. It was still elevated. I was starting to see a little bit of floaters in my vision, which again is a symptom of preeclampsia, which is what I had with my first. So I was just a little bit nervous, and I really thought that we were going to be having babies that day. I called you and said, my blood pressures are elevated. I'm going to bring my bag in the car, and we're going to go to labor and delivery and get the blood work and the protein checked. So I checked into labor and delivery that time, and I was shocked. My blood pressures there were not elevated at all. And thankfully, my labs came back normal. My protein came back normal. So everything was fine. It was just a scare at home, and it made me think, like, what's going on? Is my blood pressure machine not working? But it was working. But who knows? So we've had those like 2 little hospital scares. But I've got to go home. My blood pressures have come back down. I'm not having to take any blood pressure medication. I don't have gestational diabetes. Like, all those other things are checking out great.
So with all that happening, when are the babies coming, and then why?
The original goal for twin pregnancies is to try to get to 37 to 38 weeks. That would be best case scenario. And my doctor was thinking I would make it to 37 weeks. However, within the past few weeks, I have had just random spikes of high blood pressure. With that, coupled with I almost said the gender. Y'all stick around, we'll tell you at the end. That coupled with one of our babies measuring small, my doctor thinks it's best if we do deliver at 36 weeks, which is going to be next week. That's crazy. So they will have a 4-hour mandatory NICU stay. And so if they pass that 4-hour observation period, they will just be able to come home with us. That's the goal. And I did want to say 36 weeks is actually really good for a twin pregnancy. I mean, there's 2 babies inside of me. It's crazy. Lots of twins, around 50 to 60% of twins come between that 35 and 36 week mark. So it's actually out of the norm to be able to make it to the 37 and 38 week mark. So I would say we're doing awesome.
Yes. So is it going to be a natural birth or a C-section?
I really wanted to do a natural birth, a VBAC. Our first was a C-section because of the emergencies surrounding our first birth. Unfortunately, however, in order for us to have a natural birth, both twins have to be head down, especially with the complications that we're facing with the high blood pressure and a smaller baby. The doctor said they both have to be head down, and unfortunately, they're both breech.
They're both head up.
Yeah, they're both head up. I will say, last appointment, baby switched head down.
You just told him.
Oh!
You know, back near the beginning of the pregnancy, we had made a video about keto pregnancy and stuff like that. So your original goal was to kind of be more low carb keto. How's that going?
I think it definitely varied depending on what trimester I was in, and a lot of grace within that. So, for example, my first trimester, I was just in survival mode because nothing tasted good. I had horrible morning sickness, and I was honestly just surviving off of broth, chicken noodle soup, and some crackers just to get by. And so then I think it was during my second trimester that I really was able to accomplish more of that low carb, whole foods, healthy eating, really to fuel my pregnancy. Now that I'm in the third trimester, I feel like I'm just in survival mode because I have such low energy. I'm just exhausted all the time. I hardly have any energy to cook, and so I'm not focused on losing weight or being low carb right now. I'm just trying to fuel my body during this third trimester with as much whole foods as I can, trying to have as much energy as I possibly can. I will say one thing that has made this third trimester a lot easier though has been our Tasty air fryer, and I cannot believe I'm saying that because I'm not a kitchen gadget.
Anti-air fryer, and then we got our Tasty air fryer, and it has changed our life.
Oh my goodness. And I tried to hide it away in the cupboard and only bring it out when we need it, but now it's just on our counter all the time.
You pretty much use it almost every day. Yeah.
Whether I'm making crispy chicken fingers, you're making wings in it all the time, fried pickles, jalapeno poppers. Y'all, we use our Tasty air fryer all the time.
I love the app because you can get in the temperature probe, you can get a perfectly cooked steak every time. Food comes out crispy, delicious.
It's so easy, even our toddler can do it. He loves making your steak.
Yeah.
He'll plug the probe in and everything himself. He'll press the little button for New York strip steak and he'll press play. He can literally do it himself. It's that easy. So if you are in the market for an air fryer, make sure to check out Tasty.
And make sure to use the code CarnivorePat20 to get $20 off your order. The link is in the description.
Thank you so much, Tasty, for sponsoring this video. So you've been asking questions all this video. I got a question for you. So what are you most excited about for the twins coming?
Well,
anything.
I'm not excited for the sleeplessness, but I'm excited that, you know, to get the newborn stage, to have the babies again, and they're cute and cuddly and like and so helpless but adorable at the same time. So what are you most excited for, having twin babies in the house?
Honestly, I'm so excited to get them out of my body because I feel like a beached whale.
I think every pregnant woman at the end of pregnancy will say the same thing.
I'm waddling around.
Yep.
I'm
she
breathless.
has to like poke her belly out because she's like off balance when she walks.
It's bad.
Yeah, you're really pregnant.
I'm excited for them to come out, but I feel like the thing I'm most excited for is just being able to hold them and hopefully hold them right after birth. That's something we didn't get to do with our first son because he was born so early that I just got to see him on a video monitor, and then he was rushed off to the NICU. And so just that it's a possibility that we could hold our babies right after they come out, which is a normal thing, but I've never thought about. I'm just really excited to be able to hold them. Yep,
agreed.
If you've made it this far, we have a surprise.
So what are we having? Is it two boys, two girls, one of each?
We are having a
boy
and a girl.
So one of each.
One of each.
So we're excited to, because we already have a boy, you know, we have a 2-year-old son, but I'm kind of excited to have a girl, you know, because we don't have that, but also we're just looking forward to having one of each. We just want 2 healthy babies. That's the most important thing, but we are excited that we're finally having a girl in the house. I guess another girl.
Yeah, another girl finally. I won't be outnumbered.
All right, y'all. Thanks for watching, and the next time you see us, we'll probably have dark circles under our eyes, have no sleep, and have twin babies at home. So wish us luck. We're gonna need it. Yeah. But y'all stay strong. We'll see you next time.